Hey guys, today I have for you 5 homeschool hacks that every large family homeschooling mom needs to know. Now, I figured up the other day that I have been homeschooling. This will be my 19th year that we're going into. And over the years, I have come up with my own rhythms and routines and systems and way of doing things. And the hacks that I'm going to share with you are things that have been tried and true that I have done over and over and over again. So I am super excited to share these with you today. All right, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Amy Roberts from RaisingArrows.net, and I am here to help you manage your large family home and homeschool. And like I said earlier, this is going into my 19th year of homeschooling. I have a 23-year-old who has gone to college and graduated and is now doing his own thing. I have a 20-year-old who is in college currently, and then the rest of my kids are here at home, ages 16, 15, 12, 10, 8, 6, and 4. And those are the ones I am currently actively homeschooling. Even the 4-year-old, she's joining in on some things. She's pretty bright, and so she needs some extra educational stimulation. So she's joining us as well for a lot of our school day. So these 5 homeschool hacks that I'm going to share with you, while I'm saying these are for large families, obviously these are great ideas for any homeschooling family. I just speak mainly to large family moms. So you're welcome here if you have less than a large family, because these things are going to work for you as well. All right, so number 1. You need to anchor your day. If you listen to my podcast or you read my blog, you know that I say this over and over and over again. You need to anchor your day. I even think I have another video here about this. I sometimes lose track of all the different venues that I have information in. So there's probably a video on this, and if there is, I will make sure that I link that. But anchoring your day is incredibly important. Basically, what this means is there is a specific thing. It may be a subject, it may be an event, it may be as simple as ringing of a bell that is the thing that starts your school day. It is the thing that never changes. It's the constant in your school day. So for instance, for us, when I call everybody to school, we always start with Bible. Always. That never changes. We always start with Bible. So when I call everybody to school, they know that they need to have their Bible and their Bible study that we're working on at the time. They also know where we're going to meet. We're going to meet in the dining room. That's just the way it is. And that is a constant. And what that does is that turns your brain on, it turns their brains on, and it gets them in the mood for school. Everybody knows it's time for school, and they don't dilly-dally. They don't feel confused or frustrated about, what's next, not knowing what's next, because this is always how we start our school day. And that helps you to stay very consistent. If you start with a certain event rather than a certain time. And the reason a time doesn't work as well as a specific event or subject is that what happens if you need to take a phone call and the time that you start school changes? What if there's some sort of appointment that takes you out of the house and you can't start school at the time you always start school? Well, then everybody feels a little bit off. But if you go to that meeting or you go to that appointment or you take that phone call and then you call everybody to school and you have everything starts with the same event, then nobody feels discombobulated. Everybody feels like they know exactly what to do. That routine, that flow to your homeschool day continues, and it doesn't matter what time it is. So that's my number 1 homeschool hack, is have an anchor to your homeschool day. Now, if you'd like to dig deeper into this issue of starting your homeschool day off right and keeping things on track, I would highly recommend you click one of the links below to either get the 4 Steps to a Better Homeschool Day free PDF, or the 4 Steps to a Better Homeschool Day eCourse. They are both free. One is just kind of a short guide with some links in it and some quick, fast ideas for you to keep on track. The other one is a more involved eCourse, but both of those will give you that jump start to your homeschool day to help you stay on track. And the number one point in those 4 Steps to a Better Homeschool Day is anchoring your day. So you already have the first one down. So go down below there and click on one of those links. You can take both of them if you want to. That's fine with me. But go down there and get that and get started with making your homeschool day run smoother. All right, homeschool hack number 2, teach to the middle. And what this means is that when you are bringing everybody together to do a subject together as a family, so let's say we're all going to do science together and you have kids who are like 12 and under. You're going to all do science together. You want to teach to the middle, and then you want to supplement to the youngers and the olders. So when you go to buy curriculum, you're not going to look for these individual age-graded curricula. It's very, very hard for a large family mom to homeschool that way. It's hard for you to do everything this younger grade curriculum says to do, and then do everything the next age says to do, and the next age, and the next age. Because like you heard from me, I have a 16, 15, 10, 8, 6, 4, 12. I forgot him, sorry. But I have all these ages. And I can't possibly homeschool individually 7 different kids with 7 different super meaty curricula. So what I would do is, if I'm going to teach science for all of us together, which is not something I do, by the way, but I know people who do, is I would choose something that's geared more toward my middle grades. So let's say I'm going to involve the 4-year-old up to the 12-year-old. Well, the kids that I have in the middle of that age group are around 8 to 10. And I do tend to go a little bit to the right, which means I try to go a little bit older, because I can always talk down and simplify to my little kids. And it's a little harder to talk up to your older kids. So if you go just a little right of center and go a little bit up in the age grade of that curricula, choose that, teach from that, add in coloring pages, add in books and projects and experiments for the older kids, and you have a very robust curriculum. And your younger kids can be involved in the experiments, but they may not be able to participate as much as the older kids, and so they're kind of on the periphery, seeing what they're doing but not fully grasping it, because they're not quite old enough for that. But because you've bought in the middle and you've taught to the middle, they're getting the information that they need at their level, because you can simplify it. You can bring in some little videos or something like that that's interesting to them. But the middle kids are getting a good solid foundation, and then the older kids are also getting that foundation, but then you're building on that foundation. So it's something that works really well. The history works really well for this kind of teach to the middle, and that's what we do. We actually teach to the middle for history, and then we supplement out on either side to just make it a more robust curriculum. And we actually use Tapestry of Grace, which is written that way, but you don't have to buy a curriculum that's written that way. In fact, Tapestry of Grace is one of the few, maybe Biblioplan, they're the only ones I know of that actually teach that way or have a lesson plan that is focused that way. But you can do this with any curriculum. I would say even like Ambleside, if you're interested in a Charlotte Mason approach and you're frustrated and overwhelmed by all the individual grades on Ambleside and you've got a lot of kids, that doesn't mean you can't use it. It just means you need to teach to the middle. Find a middle ground, use those books with all of your kids, and then choose from some of the older grades and some of the younger grades. Pull books from there, pull assignments from there. Try to make them match the same cycle that you're in, but you can do this. You don't have to grade out everything so that everybody has their own package. Sunlight is another example of this. You don't need to buy every grade of Sunlight. You can buy in the middle, teach to the middle, supplement out from there. There is so much information on the internet that you could grab worksheets and you could grab extra books. You could go to the library and get books on these topics and really have a robust curriculum without all the extra effort, teacher intensive effort that it takes to teach full curricula in each grade. So that's my number 2 tip, teach to the middle. Okay, number 3 is get yourself a Homeschool Mom Basket. You need a place to put all your stuff. Back when I was a nursing mom and had all these little babies, I had a nursing mom's basket that sat right on the end table next to my chair. It was a rocker, and that was where I liked to nurse my babies. And I would keep that basket there, and it had diapers, and it had pacifiers, and it had a pen and paper for me, and I usually would drop my phone in there and things like that were right there. Well, you need the same thing as a homeschool mom. You need some sort of container that holds your books, your teacher manuals, your read alouds, anything that you use on a daily basis needs to have a home. You could have your own crate in some sort of crate and bookshelf system. You could just have a basket sitting on the top of the bookshelf, whatever. I will show you. I typically use, this is not my Homeschool Mom Basket, this is my art stuff, but something from like 31 or something from the store. Aldi has these really great, every so often, usually toward the end of summer or maybe the beginning of summer, I can't remember, but they have these really great baskets that have these 2 handles up here, and it makes it really easy to carry along with you. So like if you're going to be moving from room to room, a lot of times for us, we start in the dining room, then move to the living room. It's really handy to have something that has some very simple handles on it. Make sure it's not handles though that are going to get in the way. A crate, like a milk crate, is really great for this because the handles are built in. So you can just pick it up and those handles don't get in the way. I really like that about milk crates. So what you're going to put in the mom basket though, this Homeschool Mom Basket, is everything that you use on a daily basis. This is not going to be those random things that you just occasionally use. I keep a dry erase marker and a dry eraser in there, and then my board is actually down beside my bookshelf. And then I keep teacher manuals in there. I keep our read alouds in there, like our Bible stuff is in there. So anything that I use consistently is in that basket. And you will need to check occasionally and make sure that you haven't left things in there that you just aren't using anymore. But that's what that's for. That's to contain everything you need, so it's at your fingertips. It's simple to get a hold of. You don't have to go looking for your read aloud or go looking for the science test. They're always there. They're always in the same place. It's just super helpful and super organized for a mom who is maybe running all over the place with lots of kids, and that's how I am. I'm constantly here, there, and everywhere trying to help everybody, and I need to have a single spot where all that stuff is housed. And I know that that's where it needs to go back to. It's that whole concept of a place for everything and everything in its place. There's a place for all of your homeschooling mom supplies to go. One single place that you can find easily every single day. All right, number 4, field trips are supposed to be fun. Now that sounds kind of funny, but it's true. How many of us gather up all the kids, go on a field trip because we have to, and we end up exhausted and nobody seems to have really learned anything, and we're actually more stressed than we would have been if we just stayed home and watched a YouTube video on whatever it was that we went to see. But field trips, my friends, are supposed to be fun. So either you need to find a way to make them fun, or you need to figure out that there are certain things that you are doing that just aren't fun and you don't need to do them. Field trips are not a requirement for homeschooling. Sure, they're an added extra, and everybody tells you they're the fun part of homeschooling, but for large family moms, they're not always all that fun because it takes so much energy for us to gather everybody in all these different ages and keep everybody contained and actually have fun, that it really turns out not being all that fun. So I want to put your mind at ease about something. So often, field trips are something that we do at the end of a school week because it went along with the lessons we were learning. And so we think that we have to go to the fire station on Friday because we learned about firefighters on Monday through Thursday. So we have to go to the fire station. We have to find some friends who will come with us to the fire station to make it worthwhile for the firefighters to have us there. So we come up with this grandiose plan, and it is so stressful and so busy, and we feel like the kids didn't even really pay attention, and they're fidgeting and they're falling on the floor, and the only thing they really thought was cool was the idea that maybe they could slide down the pole, and they didn't really learn a whole lot beyond that. Now, maybe they did. Absolutely. They could have, but so often I find, especially when we try to do a big group field trip, that it doesn't work out so well. So to put your mind at ease, you may have studied firefighters Monday through Thursday, and you're thinking we have to go Friday to the fire station, when the truth of the matter is that kids do not actually equate what they're learning and what they're doing in the same way that older kids and adults do. They don't put things together chronologically. They don't realize that they were even learning about firefighters and now we're going to a fire station. They would be just as happy to go to a fire station next week or next month or next year. They would still pull out the pieces that they need to in their age, their maturity level, but they don't need it all to fit together neatly in a little package, because that's not how their brains work. Their brains are very random. And so they're picking up pieces as they go until they get to about 7th or 8th grade. And that's when they start to form a chronological, consistent, sequential idea about what they're learning. So prior to that, you could do a field trip when you feel like it. For us, when we're on vacation and there's some historical marker, we'll pull over. There's a museum and we have the time to stop, we'll go there. We learn about the information as it comes to us. We take opportunities as they come to us, rather than trying to create all of these extra learning opportunities that really don't matter to our little kids as much as they matter to us. So if field trips are stressful to you, again, I'd encourage you to look on YouTube. If you don't want to go to the fire station, or it's too stressful for you to go to the fire station, they are going to learn just as much, possibly more, by watching some little short on YouTube about the fire station. Now, if the opportunity arises for you to go to the fire station and you feel like that's something you can totally handle, then you go. Don't worry about the fact that you learned about firefighters 4-6 weeks ago. That's okay. They are still going to grab out of there the information that they need as little kids, but they don't care about the sequential chronological time frame like you do. They will still learn what they need to learn. And you can add in those more sequential things when they get older, and that would be interesting for them. But now, it's just a random event to them. They do not remember that they learned about firefighters all week long and then you went to the fire station. Again, you could save that for another time, or you could watch a YouTube video on it. So again, field trips are supposed to be fun. Make sure that they're fun. And if it's not fun, don't go. Find a different way to do it. Wait until they're older. It's okay. All right, my 5th homeschool hack for a large family mom, this is the last one, is to set timers and reminders on your phone. We all pretty much have cell phones today that have reminders and timers on them, and as a large family homeschooling mom, these are your best friend. You can set timers for everything from starting dinner to checking your children's math. You can use those to be your brain. You can use them to remind you of things that are difficult for you to remember because you have so much going on in your life. So for instance, if you have a math program that's online and your kids are doing that math program and it has its own grading system, but there's usually a parent portal that you can check. However, how many times do we remember to check the parent portal and make sure that the kids are doing well and not getting off track? Sure, we ask them, but do we actually check? Well, if you set yourself a reminder on your phone that every 2 weeks you check the parent portal, it goes off, it reminds you to do it, you remember then. You don't have to keep that stored up here that, oh, has it been 2 weeks? I don't know. I need to go check. I keep forgetting to check. Your phone does it for you. The timer, the reminder goes off, and you don't have to continually try to keep that information piled in your brain. It just tells you to do it. It's the same with dinner. How often are we as large family moms busy, busy, busy? And yes, these kids have to eat, but we're busy, busy, busy. And then suddenly it's like, Mom, I'm starving. And you look up and it's 6 o'clock and you had no plan for dinner. If you set a timer at like 4 o'clock every single day and it tells you, hey, figure out what dinner is, you might need that for a time in your life. I know I did. I had to have a timer set like that for several years, actually, because things were just so chaotic in my home that I had all these little people. And I think at the time my husband was deployed, and I needed the reminder to stop what I was doing and go see about supper and make sure that it got started. And so I have a timer right now that tells me to go take a walk because I need to be reminded that now is the time to take a walk. And I also have the reminders for checking math. I have reminders for all kinds of things. Anytime there is something that needs to be remembered that I know is not going to be something I'm going to be able to remember, I immediately push the button on my phone and tell my phone to remind me at a certain date and certain time if I need to. And that is how I keep going and consistent and not having to store all of that information in my head, because large family moms, we've got so much going on. We've got so many people to keep track of. We have to get a little more organized, even if it's as simple as setting that timer or reminder on our phone. So those are my 5 homeschool hacks every large family homeschool mom needs to know. And even if you're not a large family homeschool mom, you probably ought to know these as well. Make sure you check out raisingarrows.net for more on managing your large family, home, and homeschool. And we will see you next time.
Thank you.